Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 7, Text 19. Tadhasva prapayatesham dyotyantya dishodasa Musnamsteja upanitas tarxyena strotra vagina. Lord Narayan was seated on the shoulder of Strotra, or Garuda, who had big wings. As soon as the Lord appeared, all directions were illuminated, diminishing the luster of Brahma and the others present. Purport. A description of Narayan is given in the following two shlokas. Text 20. Shyamho hiranya rasano rukta kirita justo nilhalaka pramara mandita kundalasya shankabja chakra sara chapagadasi charma vyagrar hiranmaya pujar eva karni kara. His complexion was blackish, his garment yellow like gold, and his helmet as dazzling as the sun. His hair was bluish, the color of black bees, and his face was decorated with earrings. His 8 hands held a conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flower, arrow, bow, shield, and sword, and they were decorated with golden ornaments such as bangles and bracelets. His whole body resembled a blossoming tree beautifully decorated with various kinds of flowers. Purport. The face of Lord Vishnu as described in this verse appears like a lotus flower with bees humming over it. All of the ornaments on the body of Lord Vishnu resemble molten gold of the reddish gold color of the morning sunrise. The Lord appears just as the morning sunrise to protect the whole universal creation. His arms display different weapons, and his 8 hands are compared to the 8 petals of a lotus flower. All the weapons mentioned are for the protection of his devotees. Generally, in the 4 hands of Vishnu, there are a wheel, club, conch shell, and lotus flower. These 4 symbols are seen in the 4 hands of Vishnu in different arrangements. The club and the wheel are the Lord's symbols of punishment for the demons and miscreants, and the lotus flower and conch shell are used to bless the devotees. There are always 2 classes of men, the devotees and the demons, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Paritrinaya Sadhunam. The Lord is always ready for the protection of the devotees and annihilation of the demons. There are demons and devotees in this material world, but in the spiritual world there is no such distinction. In other words, Lord Vishnu is the proprietor of both the material and spiritual worlds. In the material world, almost everyone is of the demoniac nature, but there are also devotees who appear to be in the material world, although they are always situated in the spiritual world. A devotee's position is always transcendental, and he is always protected by Lord Vishnu. Text 21. Vakshashyadishritavadhor vannamalyudhara asavaloka kalaya brahmayamscha vishvam parsva brahmad vyajana chamara raja hamsa Svetatta patra sashinho parirajamana. Lord Vishnu looked extraordinarily beautiful because of the goddess of fortune, and a garland were situated on his chest. His face was beautifully decorated with a smiling attitude which can captivate the entire world, especially the devotees. Fans of white hair appeared on both sides of the Lord like swans, and the white canopy overhead looked like the moon. (22) Tam upagatam alaksha sarve sura ganadaya pranemu sahasotaya brahmendra traksha nayaka. As soon as Lord Vishnu was visible, all the demigods, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the Gandharvas, and all present there, immediately offered their respectful obeisances by falling down straight before him. Purport. It appears that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Lord, even of Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. What to speak of the demigods, Gandharvas, and ordinary living entities? It is stated in a prayer, Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta. All the demigods worship Lord Shiva. Similarly, Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Prasyanti Yam Yogina. Yogis concentrate their minds on the form of Lord Vishnu. Thus Lord Vishnu is worshipable by all demigods, all Gandharvas, and even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pasyanti Surayo. Vishnu is therefore the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though Lord Shiva was previously referred to in prayers by Lord Brahma as the Supreme. When Lord Vishnu appeared, Shiva also fell prostrated before him to offer respectful obeisances. 23. Tat tejasa hatarucha sanhajivasa sadvasa mordnadritanjali puta upatastur adhoksajam. In the presence of the glaring effulgence of the bodily luster of Narayan, everyone else's luster faded away, and everyone stopped speaking. Fearful with awe and veneration, all present touched their hands to their heads and prepared to offer their prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adhokshaja. Text 24. Apyarvagvritayo yasya mahitvatma bhubhadaya yatamati grananti sma kritanugraha vigraham. Although the mental scope of even demigods like Brahma was unable to comprehend the unlimited glories of the Supreme Lord, they were all able to perceive the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by His grace. Only by such grace could they offer their respectful prayers according to their different capacities. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, is always unlimited, and His glories cannot be completely enumerated by anyone, even by a personality like Lord Brahma. It is said that Ananta, a direct incarnation of the Lord, has unlimited mouths, and with each mouth he has been trying to describe the glories of the Lord for an unlimited span of time. Yet the glories of the Lord remain unlimited, and he therefore never finishes. It is not possible for any ordinary living entity to understand or to glorify the unlimited personality of Godhead, but one can offer prayers or service to the Lord according to one's particular capacity. This capacity is increased by the service spirit. Sevan mukhe hi jivhado. means that the service of the Lord begins with the tongue. This refers to chanting. By chanting Hare Krishna, one begins the service of the Lord. Another function of the tongue is to taste and accept the Lord's prasad. We have to begin our service to the unlimited with the tongue and become perfect in chanting and accepting Lord's prasad, the Lord's prasad. To accept the Lord's prasad means to control the entire set of senses. The tongue is considered to be the most uncontrollable sense because it hankers for so many unwholesome eatables, thereby forcing the living entity into the dungeon of material conditional life. As the living entity transmigrates from one form to another, he has to eat so many abominable foodstuffs that finally there is no limit. The tongue should be engaged in chanting and eating the Lord's prasad so that other senses will be controlled. Chanting is the medicine and prasad is the diet. With these processes, one can begin his service, and as the service increases, the Lord reveals more and more to the devotee. But there is no limit to his glories, and there is no limit to engaging oneself in the service of the Lord. Text 25. Daksho grihitarhana sadhano tatamam yajeshvaram vishvasrajam param guram sunandanadhyanugarvitamudha grinan prapede prayata krichanjali. When Lord Vishnu accepted the oblations offered in the sacrifice, Dakṣa the Prajapati began with great pleasure to offer respectful prayers unto him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the master of all sacrifices and preceptor of all the Prajapatis, and he is served even by such personalities as Nanda and Sunanda. Text 26. Dakṣa uvacha sudham svadham yuparhata kila budyaspatam chinmatram ekam abhayam patistidyamayam tistam stayaiva purushatvam upetya tasyam aste bhavan aparishuddha ivatma tantra. Dakṣa addressed the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My dear Lord, you are transcendental to all speculative positions. You are completely spiritual, devoid of all fear, and you are always in control of the material energy. Even though you appear in the material energy, you are situated transcendentally. You are always free from material contamination because you are completely self-sufficient. 27. Ritvija uchu Tattvam nate vayam ananjana rudra sapat karmanya vagrahadiho bhagavan viddama dharmo palakshanam idam trivrid advar akyam yatam yad artam adidhaivam adavyavasta. The priests addressed the Lord saying, O Lord, transcendental to material contamination, by the curse offered by Lord Shiva's men, we have become attached to fruitive activities, and thus we are now fallen, and therefore due to not knowing anything about you. Because we are fallen, we know nothing about you. On the contrary, we are now involved in the injunctions of the three departments of the Vedic knowledge under the plea of executing rituals in the name of yajna. We know that you have made arrangements for distributing the respective shares of the demigods. Purport. The Vedas are known as Trigunya Vishaya Veda. Those who are serious students of the Vedas are very much attached to the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas, and therefore those Vedavadis cannot understand that the ultimate goal of the Vedas is to understand Lord Krishna or Vishnu. Those who have transcended the qualitative Vedic attractions, however, can understand Krishna, who is never contaminated by the material qualities. Therefore, Lord Vishnu is addressed here as Ananjana, free from material contamination. In Bhagavad Gita 2.42, the crude Vedic scholars have been depreciated by Krishna as follows. Yam imam pushpitam vacham prabhadancha vipaschita veda bhadarata partha nanyad astiti bharina. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, and they say that there is nothing more than this. (28) Sadasya uchu utpatyadvani ashrana uru klesha durgantakogra yalan vishte vashaya mrigatrisyatma gehuru bhara Dvandvasvabre kala mriga baye sukha davidyasarta padokaste sarananda kadayati kamopashrishta. The members of the assembly addressed the Lord. O exclusive shelter for all who are situated in troubled life, in this formidable fort of confidential existence, the time element, like a snake, is always looking for an opportunity to strike. This world is full of ditches of so-called distress and happiness, and there are many ferocious animals always ready to attack. The fire of lamentation is always blazing, and the mirage of false happiness is always alluring, but one has no shelter from them. Thus foolish persons live in the cycle of birth and death, always overburdened in discharging their so-called duties, and we do not know when they will accept the shelter of your lotus feet. Purport. Persons who are not in Krishna consciousness are living a very precarious life, as described in this verse. But all these circumstantial conditions are due to forgetfulness of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to give relief to all these bewildered and distressed persons. Therefore, it is the greatest relief work for all human society, and the workers thereof are the greatest well-wishers, for they follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, who is the greatest friend to all living entities. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 29 on Monday. Were there any questions or comments from the assembled devotees? Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhaktivedanta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nishimapali Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki
Jai.
Jai. Dham Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavate Subhadra Ju Ki Jai.
Jai.
Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Vrindavan Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai.
Jai.
Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari. Jai Shrimati Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai. Jai Sripad Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
श्रीपाद कृष्ण केशव प्रभु जी की जय।
जय। धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
धन्यवाद प्रभु जी। धन्यवाद।